What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to talk about my time driving as a shuttle driver for UNM, University of New Mexico. It was a pretty interesting job, you know. Nothing too crazy initially. You know, like most driving jobs, you have a driving test and all that stuff, or at the very least you have a driving test with the supervisor or whoever your boss is, or the manager, you know, stuff like that. The reason why I say at least nothing like right away, or like nothing crazy like from the start, because eventually after a while, like they have different routes. I think there's like 7 or 8 routes, and so like I'm training, like the first route that I didn't even know that it worked like this. Like I knew I was taking a driving test, but I figured like it was just so I could pass, so I would be okay to drive. So, you know, I didn't need someone from the school to drive with me, to shadow me. So I'm training for like 2 or 3 weeks and all that stuff, and so they had let me know that, you know, you're training or you're learning the route, so you take your test. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. So I'm training for 2 or 3 weeks. There were a couple of days where I fell asleep because, you know, it's just slow. You know, it becomes monotonous and you're not always talking. And I'm not a talker when I'm driving, especially like when I'm driving like for a job, you know, like it's my job. And so I'm going through the couple of weeks, and so, you know, it's kind of annoying in the later part of the 2 or 3 weeks, because they're talking about, oh, you know, I'm falling asleep, while when I'm on the bus falling asleep, they say, oh no, it's fine and all that stuff. So, you know, people over here double talking, but you know, it is what it is. Like that part is kind of comes with the job. So it's just like, this is when stuff gets kind of sideways, you know. So I'm like, all right, fine. Like I'm thinking, all right, fine. Like I don't really like that, but at the same time, I'm about to take this driving test or whatever, and I'll be by myself driving and all that stuff, and you know, I'll just go from there. So 3 weeks pass, and I take the driving test. I pass the driving test, and they say, oh, well, they let me know, okay, they congratulate me to pass the test, and then they tell me that driving test was for that route. You've got to take 7 other driving tests, you know, for all the other routes. And it was at that point where I was like, oh, hell no. That's because, like, I went through, first of all, 2 or 3 weeks to learn a route that's a mile in complete length. It's not necessary. It's way too long. Second of all, they were giving me BS about falling asleep and all that stuff. You know, after the driver I'm riding with told me that, oh yeah, like that's fine, not saying nothing. And oh, by the way, they keep marks, like they not track you, but you have like this mini record there of how you were in training and all that stuff. So it just kind of snowballs, you know. And it's like the long training for these short ass routes, these snowballing quote unquote records for when all you're really doing is sitting in trying to memorize the route, and then, you know, having to deal with someone like over your shoulder. You know, half the time I'm not even driving. So it all became a little bit much. So it went from not a big deal to like a whole thing. So I don't know. And then even aside from that, you know, I talked to this, or I didn't talk to her like in the way that we think talking to her, like, you know, together or whatever. But I was kind of, you know, flirting with this one girl, and you know, if you've seen my other video, I think it was in the Walmart video, where I talked about how women in New Mexico are a little bit different. Well, it was that situation, but all over again. The only difference is like, no one tried to get me in trouble or nothing like that, you know. So, but yeah. So with all that said, it became a thing, and I was like, nah, I can do something else that's better than, you know, having to look over my shoulder every 5 minutes. And drivers either lying or not being aware of what the rules are for training and all that stuff. So I eventually had to say peace out to that job. And it's funny because I went to UNM for a semester, like a year or two before this happened, I went to UNM for a semester, so I was familiar with the campus already, which for me personally made the drive and the memorizing the route a little bit more unnecessary. You know, I kind of already know it. Anyway, y'all, I'm not trying to make this video super long. I'm not really trying to make any of my videos super long. But that was my time driving, being a shuttle driver at UNM. I never even really got out of training, you know? So it is what it is. Oh, and they paid every 2 weeks, so it's like one thing after another. Anyway, I'll see y'all in the next one, all right? Oh, and before I go, I'm glad I remembered this. Before I go, check out my Patreon, okay? I only have one category. It's $15 for that category. And go check it out, you know? I post exclusive videos I don't post on other social media sites or YouTube, etc. So go check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.